Hey everyone, Michael Unger here from the MacMillan Space Center, coming to you live from my office on unceded territory of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh, here with another edition of Ask an Astronomer. But it is just going to be a solo episode. Unfortunately, Marley is busy today, so it's just going to be me and you. If you're out there watching on YouTube or Facebook, and if you've got any questions under the universe, put them into the chat, because I'm going to need some content. I'm going to need some help on generating some content for this episode. Of course, I got lots to talk about because I had a blast the other week on Saturday, October the 14th. I saw a partial eclipse. Now, I know maybe not everyone in the Lower Mainland may have seen it, but if you're out there watching and you saw the partial eclipse, put into the chat what you saw and kind of like some of the experiences that you had. Because I was out at the Terry Fox Secondary, which were our guests on our previous episode of Ask an Astronomer. And they, of course, are fundraising for their event, going to the total solar eclipse in April. And so they were doing an event in their parking lot. And that was actually out in Port Coquitlam, which I think had a bit of a different vantage point, even though it's not that far away, because I did see the partial solar eclipse for about 30 minutes or so. Whereas the folks here, we had some people that were watching it out in front of our building. They said that they maybe had, maybe even only a couple minutes to see the partial eclipse. So throw into the chat if you saw the partial solar eclipse, because I'm very curious what people's perceptions were. I saw a Pac-Man up there, the moon going over the sun and the sun being cut out. Very cool. It's interesting because in April, the total solar eclipse, which is only going to be visible from Mexico, Eastern United States, and Eastern Canada. Total solar eclipse is, of course, completely different than a partial solar eclipse. Even just like the experience of having the sun being completely covered. So even though it was a pretty good partial at its totality last Saturday, it still was sunny out, right? Like there was still lots of sunlight out. Now in April, for us here in the Lower Mainland, it'll also be a partial solar eclipse, but it's really going to be even like smaller than what we saw on Saturday. So Saturday, actually, for people living in the Lower Mainland, that was probably your best chance to see a good partial solar eclipse. So I'm hoping that if you're out there watching, that you may also make some plans to go see a total solar eclipse. If not in April, then maybe at some point in your lifetime, because it really is like one of those magical experiences. I'm not speaking from experience. I have never seen a total solar eclipse, and I'm already making plans for a bunch of other things happening in April. So I'm just delaying it again. So it is definitely on my bucket list. At some point, I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to see a total solar eclipse. So this is going to be a shorter episode. Look, I don't have much content prepared for you. We can talk about some of the things that we have coming up here at the Space Center. Again, if you have any questions that are on your mind in the universe, lots of things happening out there. Maybe you've read some things that you're curious about. We can talk certainly about some of the events that we got coming up, and we can generate some discussion around that. So if I share my screen here, let's try this one here. So what I want to show you here is our events coming up. I can just scroll over. Okay, so we've got tomorrow, Friday, we've got a Pro D day. So if you're out there watching and you are not in school, because it's a professional day, we are actually open to the public. We're going to be doing some really fun stuff. If you're a teacher, there are some activities that we are doing specifically for teachers tomorrow, but we're also going to be open to the public. We're not normally open to the public on a Friday, but Pro D day, come on down. As you can see, if you want more of Marley, we've got the Home Learners webinar happening on October 24th. So that's Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. That's going to be a 60-minute live session where you get to hang out with Marley. And who doesn't like hanging out with Marley? One of my favorite people in the universe. And then again, there's going to be pretty much the same webinar, but for evening folks. So if you are not a home learner, but you're someone that's in school that still wants to have that chance to hang out with Marley in a Zoom chat, sign up to the October 25th session. That's my birthday, actually. There you go. And then one of my favorite programs that we have developed here at the Space Center is this one right here, Goth Universe. I am a kid from the 80s. I love 80s music and I love goth music. So what we have done with our digital producer, Millie, we have developed a goth playlist. You know, we're talking The Cure, we're talking Depeche Mode, and we're just going to be soaring through the universe with a bunch of different visuals for about an hour on October 28th. So that's going to be a really cool event. We're kind of building it. It's a bit of an experiment. Really cool stuff. We'll be doing more of those. We're going to be doing another one in December, and then next year we've got a bunch planned. And then as we head into November, we've got a brand new planetarium show to offer you called We Choose Space. We Choose Space. Yeah, exactly. That is JFK. That is what's taken. That's what the title is taken from. But it's more of a family-oriented show. We're going to be kicking off with an event. We're doing some activities in our gallery space on Saturday evening, November the 4th at 6 p.m. We'll premiere that new show as well as some of the other new moon shows that we have developed over this past year. And get this, the opera is taking over our Star Theater Planetarium. Sanctuary and Storm is this opera that is going to be running on November 17th, 18th, and 19th. Amazing stuff, really cool stuff to get into. So if you're out there watching and you are a fan of coming here and some of the events that we do, like I say, or if you are an online learner, we've got lots of options for you. Like I said at the top, I don't got a whole lot of content here. This is going to be a short-ish episode, so I don't see any questions coming in from you folks. I'll give you a few more minutes for you to throw in any questions you may have under the universe if you want me to answer them. If not, we have a very special Ask an Astronomer coming to you in 2 weeks. Okay, November the 2nd is our chance to talk to the director of the Lunar Gateway Project. That's right, from the Canadian Space Agency. It's going to be an amazing Ask an Astronomer. So join us in 2 weeks, the same time. We'll do the full show at 4 p.m. on November the 2nd, the director of the Lunar Gateway Project from the Canadian Space Agency. Make sure to check that out. And that's about all I have for this episode, folks. Thank you so much. Marley will be back with us, but of course, if you want to sign up to some of those other home learners, get onto our website, have a look. I hope to see you all again in a couple of weeks. Thanks, folks.